What's up? I'm back. In this segment, I'm going to talk about healing. Healing is sort of a profession, a skill that many people in the spiritual community either respect, some want to do. Um, Healing, when I say healing, could be alternative medicine. That's when you heal basically, I don't want to say by unconventional means, but you heal basically means that's not mainstream. So whether that's acupuncture, herbology, Reiki healing, all sorts of healings from all sorts of different ways. Ayurvedic medicine, Chinese medicine, Tibetan medicine, African medicine, from healing people through diet, healing people through instruments, healing people through even just raw energy. Raw energy might mean you touching them and them getting healed. There are many different types of healers, healing systems, and healing is a thing where it's a beautiful thing because from my perspective, um, I had a friend or mentor who always said the healers, the true revolutionaries are gonna be healers. And when he told me that at the time, I was only like 21 and I didn't understand. But as I grew more and more, I realized why that's true. Because when you're a healer, a true healer, you have a responsibility not just to the planet, but to human beings and animals and plants, everybody on it, whether it's a human or any other living thing. And in a sense, what happens is that you see the world from a different perspective. That's why, for instance, in certain martial arts systems, you can't go up you can't go up certain ranks until you become a healer as well. Because what a lot of people don't really realize is the first healers were actually the martial artists. So there's a correlation between healing and the system of Mars or of war. Because in a sense, the same power to kill is the same power to heal. So when you were a healer, it gives you a different perspective on, it gives you a different perspective on things, and in a way, it gives you a unique perspective because that sort of mindset is so not in everyday people. The problem with being a healer is that being that now the industry has become saturated, I don't want to say it's about being real or fake because I think in general, I rather go to healers than a lot of, whether you talk about spiritual teachers or whether you talk about, Western doctors. I think Western medicine does have a place though. I think if you talk about trauma, when you get in an accident, get your hand cut off or something like that, or some stuff like that that you need surgery, I don't really, even alternative medicine probably can't beat back Western medicine when it comes to that. So I think basically Western medicine, Eastern medicine, or not even East because many play people have it, but Western medicine and alternative medicine should be merged together. I think the true healers of the future probably gonna be half healer, half doctor. Honestly, I think what happens though is that there's different types of healers, and I think there's a lot of misconception when it comes to healers. It's funny, kind of funny. Most of the best alchemists are also healers. There's reasons why, because what many people don't really realize is the real healer. This is something that's missing. You can usually tell a natural born healer, and when I say natural born healer, I'm talking about a person who can heal with energy. I'm not really talking about a person who heals you with diet, only because anyone can learn to do that, to be honest. With enough hard work, anybody can learn to do that. But I think the person who can heal people with energy is more unique. And it's kind of funny because they usually, you could tell them fairly early. There's certain qualities that certain healers have. One being compassion. You can't fake that. I see healers now who hate animals and stuff like that, or not really into plants. If you're an energy healer, I don't see how that's possible. Because one secret that many people don't realize is when you're an energy healer, the first people you actually heal are actually plants and animals. Because one of the secret is that many people don't know who are not healers is that the more ego something has, the harder it is to heal. Because let's not forget what is the problem? Like what causes disease or stuff like that? Basically, we could go into a whole bunch of different things, but really what causes it is you humans um basically leaving the source, or when I say leaving the source, disconnecting from the source, from the will of the source, or disconnecting from the reason why they were born, and letting the ego take control. The ego wants control so much it doesn't care if you get sick, it doesn't care if it cuts off your immortality, it doesn't care if it cuts off your perception. This is why many people don't realize that human beings have many psychic powers, but the ego wants control so much that it will cut off your psychic powers just for the sake of being in control, literally. So the more ego you have, the harder it is to heal. That's the reason why traditionally it's easier to heal children using energy than adults. Because when you become an adult, you have more ego. This is why now many people really heal people with diet. Because in a sense, most of humanity's ego is out of control. Healing energy is very hard unless you yourself are very good. And I think what happens is that part of it is that the mindset of being a true healer is being lost. And I think that's what it is. A healer, in a sense, the reason why I say it tries to heal the planet first, because basically a true healer knows the cosmic forces, the source, always wants to heal other people. But in essence, in order for higher dimensional energies to sometimes come to the planet, it needs physical instruments. So if I go outside and I help an elderly person in a wheelchair across the street, I could be egotistical, say that's because I'm a good person. But the reality of it is, I'm just being an instrument for the source and the higher forces. The source and the higher forces want that elderly person to be helped. And a healer is so in tune with nature, they can go and then implement that. And when a healer is in tune with nature, they can do things that sometimes, including reverse death. Because sometimes, what we have to realize is, for the most part, the four elemental forces, fire, water, wind, and earth, have elemental counterparts. They basically run themselves. The fifth element, spirit, the reason why they call it spirit is because some orders a long time ago realized that you couldn't measure the fifth element. So they said spirit. And also because it needed human beings or a certain type of human beings to able to run that element. It's because it's the hidden element. So in a sense, like when you look up the sun and the sun exists because you and a whole bunch of other people say it exists, it's sort of like human beings keeping creation intact. Certain people who are so in tune with the fifth element would be able to know that 20% of the time, because basically when you talk about miracles, 20% of the standard cause and effects is not what you think. The other 80% is based on elements. That's based on traditional physics. The other 20% is based on us. And what happens is that a healer will be able to sense, okay, this elderly person needs help. This person needs to be healed energy-wise of disease. Whatever the case, it will do. And sometimes it takes extraordinary amount of power to do that, and then all of a sudden you call it a miracle. And so what happens is that's why they say having compassion is the center of being a healer, because you have to, in a sense, not only have compassion, but have compassion for the planet. Once you have compassion for the planet, you can use a lot of energies that's not available to regular people. That's the difference. So even though I think anybody can be a healer based on diet, it's very hard to be a healer based on healing people with energy. That's why you don't see it that much. That's why even people who supposedly use energy, they don't really heal. Most of the people that you hear cure incurable diseases are people like Dr. Sebi. You're not gonna have a person who uses energy healing people like curing incurable diseases because they can't, because it's very hard to do now. Because a lot of times many would-be healers don't even know that they're healers. And then many people who probably not healers are going into the profession for many different reasons. So I think in general, being a healer is one of those things where we have to get back to the basics. If you heal people through diet, if you heal people through acupuncture needles, you're a healer. But when you heal people through energy, literally raw energy, that's something different. It's a healer, but it's a healer in its traditional sense, in a more primordial sense. And in a sense, what happens is that there's certain qualities that you're supposed to know that you have as a healer. And that's why I push shamanism so much, because there's a connection to nature that most healers don't have. That's why they don't heal people the way they're supposed to. And even things like if you were to go tell a person, the reason why you don't heal is because, I'll give you a good example. Look at this. In the past, many healers will look at you energy-wise and be able to see your karma and not heal you. Because if you're going to do the same thing over and over again, they wouldn't heal you. So people might say, why? Because in a sense, nature gives that person a disease to change their behavior. When that person doesn't change their behavior and then you heal the person, you then start to lose power every time you do that. And eventually your healing energy leaves. That's what happens to most energy healers who have good intentions. A lot of energy healers have good intentions. But sometimes they're not taught that. So in a sense, the reason why plants and animals, another reason why plants and animals were the first people to be healed, or the first people, they're not even people, the first living creatures that energy healers heal is because when you heal a plant and animal, for the most part, there's no risk to it. You don't have to worry about being able to read karma and stuff like that. You could just heal. And in a way, that's how you practice. And in a way, you start to cure the planet. That's another reason why many alchemists who search for this supposedly elixir of life, they don't get it, because most of them who search for it are actually looking to extend their life. Those who get it, a lot more get it than you think, are those who just want to heal the planet. Then you realize that by healing the planet, you could actually extend your life as well. Kind of goes hand in hand, because you become that living instrument and very valuable. That's what they say. A valuable healer might be more valuable than a magician or a scientist because it's not rare, but it's not as much as you think. So healing is something that I have great respect for, and I think many people, I won't say many, but there's a lot of healers out there who have that natural trait who don't know about it, and they just need that nudge in the right direction. So this is a symbolic of me giving back. If you heal through diet, through herbs, not saying not a healer, um, you're just not a healer in the traditional sense, like in the old days. You're a healer now, which is fine. Because I would tell you this, even if you're a healer of energy, right, use energy to heal, I would say everybody's supposed to know how to do the diet, because I think when you do the diet, I'm not gonna say it doesn't matter if the person's losing karma, but in a sense, a bad diet, by them correcting their diet, they're taking small steps to correct their karma because they're changing their behavior a little bit. So in a sense, even if you can heal with energy, you're probably supposed to be able to use herbs and diet as well, and actually probably use herbs and diet first, so that you don't have to worry about reading karma and well, maybe you giving the person, healing therapy not supposed to. When you force them to change their diet, or when they decide to change their diet, that's the first steps of them reversing their karma. So I think on a smaller level, in a sense, even if you had a natural gift for healing energy, being able to heal a diet or tools like acupuncture needles, or crystals or sound is extremely important. And I think that's what I think in the 21st century. I think that's what it is now. In a sense, a healer has to even have more dimensions to him or her. They probably have to take guides through Tibetan medicine, which is my personal favorite, African medicine, Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic, Northern Indian, Siddhar medicine, Southern India, certain type of American shamanistic healing, some type of Aboriginal indigenous healing. It's a process, and in a sense it's kind of hard because unlike spirituality, you can't be a philosopher and a healer. You actually need time in the field to be a healer, because the book's only going to tell you certain things. Everybody's body is built differently. You might try to heal somebody with the same formula and it doesn't work, and they call you up and say what happened, and you can't look at the book for certain things are spontaneous. So because everybody's body is different, so as a healer you actually need time in the field. So being a healer is a tremendous honor. I don't even really consider myself a healer. I consider myself more of a preventive guy. I usually help people prevent the illness from starting. But in terms of healing in itself, I don't really consider myself a healer because I had that much respect for it. Um, so just in case you want to know what it's like to be, the mindset of a healer, there it is. Hope you learned something from today. Until next time, peace.